Hello, hello, welcome to Mindset to Results. And today our guest is Richard Woods. He is entrepreneur and the founder of $1 Million Sprint. And today we will speak about so important topic that is how to grow business by mastering the lead generation. Hi, Richard.
Hello, great to be here, and thank you so much for inviting me on.
You are most welcome. I'm so excited to speak today about you as you are uh, so successful business owner, and I myself have been following you for a few years, and finally I became your student. So it is a real honor for me to have you today as a guest on our podcast and to share from your experience and your knowledge and skills with our audience who are driven business owners and entrepreneurs and empower them to think big, grow rich, and achieve their audacious goals. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how your journey started, and what you would like to share today.
Okay, cool. So, entrepreneur journey really came out of university. I did a business with entrepreneurship degree, so I kind of always knew that I wanted to do something entrepreneurial, but I just felt like I needed 3 more years at university to kind of get my butt in gear, basically. And which was lucky I did, because on the first day of university I met my wife, so that was a great bonus in terms of the return on investment for my tuition fees. But when I came out, I had a sketchbook of ideas. I used my graduate loan. Instead of traveling the world, I went over to India and China and actually walked up and down the trade show stands of Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and then back over to Delhi and into India, and basically filled up containers full of my creations, my sort of designing stuff, everything from 3-player chessboards to rubber ducks. Like, it was, my wife called me the Tat Man at the time, like the modern day Del Boy Trotter. And I just brought all this stuff back in, and then I was walking up and down the high street trying to sell all this stuff to people and get vendors and wholesalers, and we did really well with that business. But then recession happened, the 2007 recession. I graduated in 2006, was over doing all this stuff, brought everything back, and then I'm basically kind of fighting against the wave during that. So we were struggling at that point, and as we were growing, we were just hitting these issues, and obviously, the lack of credit lines. And what I realized is that the most important thing for these people we were trying to sell all of our products to was that they actually weren't very good at selling themselves. So as a wholesaler, I've got to rely on the retailers to sell themselves. So then I started going and trying to get involved with those retailers, say, right, well, what if you did this or displayed this or created this in the shop? Or what if you built a website? And they go, oh, I don't know how to build a website. And I was like, oh, we'll do that for you. And as long as you buy £1,000 of our photo frames or ducks or whatever it is. And so we got a load of orders. And so we then had to build these websites. And we soon realized that actually this website making thing we really enjoyed doing. And at that time, it was highly valuable because not many people were doing it, certainly not at the price point we were. And we're just young guys, who kind of would say yes and try and work out on YouTube how to actually do it in the evenings and create it, right? So it's the kind of classic, sweat equity that you have to put in when you're just starting out. And we soon went back for the reorders of our rubber ducks or our photo frames, and people are like, well, we're not selling any of that, but can we have a few more pages on our website, or can my friend the plumber do that? And so anyway, my marketing agency was born, and we soon stopped selling the stuff and just started doing all this marketing stuff. And that's my passion. My passion, really, if you distill it all down into a sentence, it's the thing that gets your phone ringing and inbox pinging with inquiries. It's that lead. I love that. It's the chase to get someone who doesn't know you to actually then inquire about your services. And that's the piece that I love. We became a lead generation agency ultimately, which is a business called Yomp. We scaled that to over $1 million in revenue, sold it to a business that then went on to go float on the NASDAQ, and bam, I got my first exit, which was great. And then I got involved with a few other ventures. And also at that same time, I walked through my lounge and this music came on, this da 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 da, and it's the Apprentice music. And I was a massive fan, obviously being in business. And I walk through and I say to my wife, look, what a bunch of arrogant whatchamacallits, I could do so much better than them. And my wife said, well, if you think you're so clever, why don't you apply? And of course, because I am an arrogant whatchamacallit, I ended up applying. And I, for whatever reason, well, I can probably tell the reason because I'm probably a good typeface for it, but I get it. And I get onto the Apprentice and I start running around after Lord Sugar, doing crazy tasks for him. Back in 2015, this was. And it was just the most wonderful experience. It's like a 3-month holiday because you have 3 months there. You don't go home. You get one telephone call home per week. And actually, the week before I went into the Apprentice, my wife came in with a clear blue pregnancy test saying I'm pregnant with our second child. And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, oh, but I've got to go. And so I spent the entire kind of morning sickness phase of Cara's pregnancy with our daughter Poppy, basically running around doing apprenticey stuff. So my 10-minute phone call was 9.5 minutes of being told off for leaving my wife, and then 30 seconds of me saying, this apprentice stuff's going well. So anyway, I do all of that stuff, and it's great. Get right the way to the end. Broke a load of apprentice records on the way. I did particularly well. Unfortunately, just missed out in the final to the investment from him, which still keeps me awake at night. But came out of there, won a load of awards. I published 3 books, went to bestseller. I don't want to keep on listing these things. I scaled a load of businesses, which is great. The whole kind of going from some revenue to $1 million in revenue is my piece. So lead generation and getting to $1 million in revenue are the 2 things that I love doing. And so my I say new, it's not new anymore. My COVID baby, if you like, the business that we launched in COVID when we couldn't run physical events anymore, was $1 Million Sprint. And $1 Million Sprint is the business I run now. Highly successful, again, up to $1 million in revenue. And we help business owners to scale themselves from some revenue to $1 million revenue. And that's the piece that I love.
Yeah, great. Thank you for sharing. And also, you didn't mention that you're champion in marathon.
Oh yeah, whoa, yeah, I love doing adventures and stuff. So yeah, I got airlifted off out of the Himalayas when I failed trying to go up to Everest. I climbed Mont Blanc last year, and then now did loads of marathons. In fact, did the marathon on Sunday, was the Chester one. That was my 5th one, 3rd one this year. And then we got the marathon. I keep on saying we. I don't know, we, it's just a false habit. I've got the Marathon des Sables, which is the 250K over the Sahara Desert over 6 days, light jog, in April next year. So I like to make sure that adventure happens outside of work.
Yes, and it is really interesting how our spirit, yes, and how mind, when we let things happen, it brings that to our reality. It is ability to think big and step into unknown and see yourself already in that big picture, how it starts getting you grow and start attracting things which are required. Yes, and I really enjoy meeting people as you, so who are so ambitious and driven, because we have such a huge potential. And this is one of the purposes of this podcast, to um, waken people up and say them hello. You have so many things that you can do in this life. Yes, start thinking big and just go out of your comfort zone and start dreaming. Yes, because many people forget how to dream, and they maybe dreamed last time when they were 5 or 6 before they went to school. Yeah, because all our education system is conditioning us to think logically, to think how you are going to do things. And when we speak about entrepreneurship, it is totally different way. Yeah, because if you just think about what is possible and what you did before or what you can do, you can never achieve different results. So let's speak about this from your perspective. what helped you to become so successful in business and in your personal life, and also in like a sportsman? Because to do those marathons and so many times for those so big distances, I think that you're a champion.
Bless you. Do you know what? I just think I, I I I think it's a case of just being really passionate about a few things. This is the big thing that I see in business, is that ADHD and that type of magpie shiny object syndrome piece, honestly, like I just think it's shiny object syndrome. That's what entrepreneur, if you look it up entrepreneur in the dictionary, it should be, the definition should be shiny object syndrome. And if I talk to 80% of my clients, I would guarantee have some sort of kind of, shiny object syndrome type thing, right? And that's because we are constantly looking at different things and we're going down different routes, etc. And so that is an entrepreneurial trait. That is a business owner trait, because they think differently and they do things laterally, and they are passionate about and get hyper focused on things, and question the status quo and get interested on stuff, and take action on that interest, and that becomes businesses, or products, or new teams of people, new partnerships, right? And sometimes they work, and sometimes that's great, but if you try and do too many, you stretch yourself in too many directions and everything fails. And I've definitely come unstuck with that at some point, particularly after I sold my first business. Then there was just so much opportunity out there that I did everything and then nothing worked, right? So then you have to retrench and focus on the one thing. So if I was to give a tip to anyone, the power of one. If you can actually say, right, I'm just going to sell to this type of person, this type of product, which is going to solve this one solution or this one pain with this solution, you then have a target audience, a product for them, and you understand their pain. Now use that kind of magpie effect to go deep into that. So perfect how to better communicate to that audience. Perfect how to better deliver that one solution to that audience. Use the magpie effect, but use it in very narrow tunnels. And that will allow you to use your superpower, which is the kind of hyper focus, never say never, looking at different ways of around problems, but within very silo places. And I've been very good at that, particularly recently. And so then I attribute that to my kind of adventure stuff, if you like. And so I use those adventures to keep relationships with family and friends. So one of the things, one of my best mate, unfortunately lost his father 4 or 5 years ago now. But his dad trained me in my rugby team, trained my mate with the same rugby team, kind of, knew him, but it just happened. 3 months, boom, went. And it really kind of like took me back at how quickly and how finite life can be. And that made me then go, right, my dad's in great health. He's doing really well. In the age of 70, we've gone on then to go to the Himalayas together, to go to top of Mont Blanc, top of Europe, basically stand on top of Europe together. And also now he's going to go out to Marathon des Sables with me and do the desert racing. So it's a great, he's the real story out of this. He's going to be 73, 4, going out to desert racing. And look, we both know if we fail, it doesn't matter. We're there together to do the adventure. And so it's bigger than me getting a medal around my neck. It's actually spending the time with my dad, whilst we can spend the time with dad, not regretting not spending the time. And that's same with my kids as well, doing things with them. Same with my dad, and I do various other less activity things with mum, but that'd be very much like going to galleries and spending times out on London, just the two of us. And I think that's important. Just going, it can all change. It can all change in an instant, including yourself and the way that you can actually work for business. So there's no point banging your head up against a job that you hate and you get bored of, and is going to feel like you're dragging yourself into your office every day. Do do something you're passionate about, because it will come out in how you approach things, and you'll get the success from it. You do it and you'll love Mondays instead of feeling like, oh my God, here comes another Monday. How am I going to quit this job that I hate? You got to love the work, love the weekends, and spend it with the people that matters most.
Yes, it is so important to be owner of your time, because when we look at people who are employees and you think about that, they have only 3 weeks vacations a year, and that also can be canceled. Like, I have a friend who applied 3 times to have vacation, and 3 times it was canceled just before a week when he's supposed to have them. And I was just, wow, how people can live like this, like, to let other people to decide whether they will have vacations or not, and what time they can have vacations. Like, it is, for me, it is like totally nonsense, really. Like, I never worked for anybody in my life, and for me it is really like, I can't even understand. And there is such a big difference between being employee and being entrepreneur. Yes, and it is totally different mindset. And I think, as you said, that entrepreneurs have this shiny object syndrome. Yeah, because I think it is related to difference between being entrepreneur, because they have to take care of so many things, and they feel that responsibility, and they don't know, they don't have clarity what they have to do and what should be the priority. And as you said, as if they are driven and ambitious, yes, they just start pushing themselves in all directions at the same time. Yes, and this is how often they get burnout, and many also can lose self-esteem, lose confidence, because they think that they do so much and they don't get anywhere. And so it is very important to have mentor and have that blueprint, roadmap, to do things, not just to do certain things, because we all know what we have to do, but also it is important to do things in a certain way, because all of them can be important, right? But if you, as you said, if we just start doing everything at the same time, we will just get nowhere.
Exactly. It's in priority is so important, because if you've got purpose, and you add priority, then that's gonna look after the whole journey. There's a great book called The One Thing, and if anybody hasn't read it, please do read it. And it came into my world, and I think good mentors or good books which relate to the mentors, I feel like they come into your world at the right time, and you've got to be open to see it, but understand that sometimes when you're at your deepest problem, then the solution finds its way to you, the mentor finds their way to you. And when I was in a place where I was doing so many things, this book, The One Thing, came into my world, and it's all about kind of lining up, knowing where you're going, lining up all the dominoes that takes you from now to that, and then just knocking over the first domino first, and not worrying about the one that's 7 dominoes up. Only work on the one that's 1 away from you. And if you just do that, knock a domino every day, then you're going to get to your objective far quicker. And that was brilliant. I ended up going to a couples goal setting retreat in Austin, Texas, with the author of that book, and it was brilliant to actually then sit with my wife to line up our life dominoes of where we want to go to, and then work on that project together. And that was huge. I know some of the massive changes that we've made and remain made to this day. Big changes about how we're going to educate our kids, and where are we going to go live, were made in that Austin, Texas, lining dominoes up room, because we don't get enough time to sit down and actually sometimes properly plan with your other half. And that was certainly a fantastic thing. So The One Thing, that's the book, The One Thing. Please do check that out if you want a bit of purpose and priority inspiration.
Yes, great. And let's speak about the vision. Yes, as you said, you went to the treatment retreat, and you had time to sit and create the vision. Yes, and how important vision is for business and for achieving those dreams and goals, because people need clarity, yeah, and have the exact vision how to set the domino. They have to know where they're going exactly, and they have to think from the end. Yes, that this is how is important that to know the destination, because you only can create this route for the domino step by steps when you know exact the destination where you want to be. And this is how you can start thinking, feeling, and acting from that place. Yeah, and this is the secret of success, because you cannot achieve anything new in life if you make decision based of who you were yesterday and who you are today, because the way how you made decisions till now brought you to these results. Yeah, so you, that is why it's so important to have that vision. And even if it feels like, oh, it needs time, I'm so busy, I have to do this is the most important, to
Yeah.
create that vision, to create the plan, even if you don't know all the steps. But it's important to know what you really want and what you're passionate about, and have that burning desire. Yes, like as you said, like every Monday you wake up and you just say, wow, it is a week. I'm going to do so much. I'm going to go closer to my goals and to my dreams. Yes, and be in this state. So this planning and vision is very important.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. I think you said it perfectly. It's a case of just knowing where you're going. Set the sat nav to go to a destination. So if you don't know what the destination, there's a great quote from Alice in Wonderland by the Cheshire Cat, and the Cheshire Cat's on the branch of the tree, and Alice is walking along after tumbling down the rabbit hole, and she and the Cheshire Cat goes, where are you going, to Alice? And she goes, I don't know. And she goes, which road should I take to the Cheshire Cat? And the Cheshire Cat goes, well, if you don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter, because any road will take you there. And I think that's great, because you're in the fork in the road, you've got to make a decision, go left or go right. And it doesn't actually matter which way you take if you don't know where you're going, because anyone will take you there. So that's where the shiny thing object one, or the right decision, doesn't really matter if you don't know where you're going. So it's about really kind of lining that up. I love it. Yep, I think that's great. Visions are super important.
Yes, and also I liked how you shared about how you prioritize also time spending with your family, your dad and your spouse and daughter. So because it is so easy for entrepreneurs to get lost in these everyday activities and their dream about business, and forget about taking care of themselves, of their health, and spending quality time with family. Yes, so it is
Yeah.
so important to balance, and even there is no balance exact, yes, because it is always something that today is like priority, but it is at least it is everyone can put the time with family as other events on their calendar. Yes, and treat this time with the same pressure and honor. Yeah, because as you said that memories, yes, memories which we have. This is so important. This is like priceless memories of those moments which we spent with our loved ones, and we never know, we cannot say like what will happen next year or like in 5 years. When I
Mm.
like, we cannot think like, oh, I have to build my business and then I will be happy and I will have a lot of time to spend with my family. Yes, this is every day we should live and really enjoy life, and have that life and work harmony. And I really liked how you implement this attitude in your life.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
So let's speak a little bit about $1 million sprint. Yes, this is your, as you said, COVID child. Yeah. So what was the idea behind it, and how do you help people to build their million business?
Yeah. So pre-COVID, I was running something called the Lead Gen Academy. So lead generation is my thing. So Lead Gen Academy, and that was a physical in-person event and physical mastermind. So it was one big event a month where people would come along to a location that was local to me in Farnborough, in the UK, and everybody would come in. We'd have 100 people there, and I'd spend my time doing lots of local networking groups around to try and get people along to this event, as well. So a bit of my marketing strategy was in person, my delivery was in person, and then I'd then upsell people into 10-person masterminds again for a full day in person. So that's when my business was. And then, of course, when lockdown happens, it's like, God, everything's based upon in person. So we then started to reposition it and then draw it online and rebrand it, because where Lead Gen Academy had been all about lead generation, that's great. It was very much kind of, here's lots of different types of lead generation. But actually, what we realized is that we want to help people go on the growth. We want to use lead generation to be able to generate sales. And so sales would then generate growth, and then we want to help them on the growth. So it allows us to be a little bit more holistic in terms of how we approach the different assets within the business, or delivery processes within the business. And we also want to be more international, because if we're going to go online, be more international. So therefore the $1 million piece was the idea. And there's a big kind of concept around when you get up to $1 million in revenue, or even just £50,000 a month type revenue piece, maybe even 30,000 a month. Your business starts to change at those different layers, and you can start to be to delegate. You can start to be more of a leader than a doer in your business. You can start to build team and process, and you start to develop brand, and brand starts to then gravitate people towards you. And you just really kind of know, right, this is how I generate my inquiries. This is how we deliver our product. This is how we account. And you finally can kind of sit on top of your umbrella and see the whole world working for you, instead of you kind of working basically in a glorified job. So that's why it's super important, I say, when you're, especially your service business, to go as quickly as possible to that $1 million in revenue piece, because you will then find yourself being able to actually run a proper business. And of course, then your business is worth something, and then it's an actual exit strategy. Otherwise, if you are a contractor working with, say, 10 clients one-to-one, there is no exit. It will just fizzle out and stop when you decide to fizzle out and stop. Whereas if you grow a business that's in $1 million in revenue, then there's a big exit for you potentially down the road if you've got it profitable enough. That's then that's your nest egg, that's your retirement. It actually is a phase. So there's lots of different ways. So to get up there as quickly as possible means the sprint part. So obviously, that's why we talk about sprint there. And then the $1 million piece is obviously the target, right? So that's the piece that I love. Now, we see there being 4 core things that you need to do when you're kind of creating this, 4 core assets. So one is awareness. So you need to have a very intelligent way of generating awareness of you en masse. And that can be such as running Facebook ads that generate, for a free ebook, could be LinkedIn connections and LinkedIn content posting, could be YouTube videos, something that is actually building and going out and finding people that become aware of you. They start to actually connect with you and are in your network. Then the second thing is you need to have a focal point for consideration. And we say have one weekly moment. So the power of one is one target audience you're building awareness with into one weekly moment. And that weekly moment could be this podcast, for example. So you could have a podcast, you could have an event, you could have a newsletter you're doing, you could have a long form piece of video content, a live, whatever it is, but have something where people are spending time with you, considering, do I like what you say? Do I understand your way of approaching things? And do I think that you might be the good person to be my mentor or to provide this service for me? So if you can have a moment each week where you're producing that piece of content, and I do something called LinkedIn for Breakfast, which is a LinkedIn chat every Wednesday morning. And that's beautiful because I can invite people to it. They show up, we deliver some great content, We try and make it the best place in the world to learn LinkedIn for free. And it means that all this awareness, I can gravitate people towards this consideration asset that I deliver for free. It's the best thing that I can put out there for free each week. Bam. So I'm now transitioned someone from being aware that Richard talks about this lead generation stuff to I've now come to his LinkedIn for breakfast and I really like what he's got to say about this thing. And I see him now as an expert. Cool. Now I need to transition to convert. So you then open the door and say, hey, if you liked what you heard here, then I'd love to have a one-to-one with you. And you then offer the door for them to then book a sales meeting. So then you transition to there. Now, some clever things that you can do, such as offering to do a social media audit for them, or offering to do a strategy session, or some sort of opportunity discovery, or whatever it is, like a free coaching session. So that is one of the hooks that gets people to go from seeing you en masse as part of an audience to having a one-to-one with you. Then once they're having that one-to-one with you in convert, you sell them into the final stage, which is deliver, which is when you actually get to do the stuff for them. So create a great product, sell just one solution, that one product. And if you've got one product you're saying to them, then you can make it the best product in the world. So one audience to build awareness, one weekly moment to build consideration, one type of sales meeting to convert, and one full and remarkable product to deliver. Awareness, consider, convert, deliver. And that's what we do. We help people to build those. We look at where the deficiencies are. We look at different tactics to transition people from different stages, and we put that machine into their company. And that machine is capable of then churning away and working and delivering big results for clients, even $1 million results for clients.
Yeah, thank you so much, Richard, for sharing. It is so very, very powerful conversation we had today, and I'm sure that our listeners will take so much from this episode. So, before we wrap it up, what you would like, if it would be one advice to share with our audience?
One
To
advice.
encourage,
Sorry, go on.
yeah, to encourage them to think big and think about million, or maybe people who already are at that level think even bigger.
So yeah, it interesting, really. I think the advice. I think from there's two things. So one's a practical one, and one's kind of a big picture one. So for me, it's if you're not having fun, something's wrong. So if you're not enjoying it, get off the wheel, do something else. Just you're here once, right? So enjoy what you're blooming doing. I know a lot of people say that. I know it's cliche, but you'll know if you're listening to this right now if you're not having fun. So make a decision to change things. You can do it. It might not happen overnight, but you can make that decision. You can change things. Second thing is practical. So many people put a lot of marketing out there, throw out as much social media as possible, taking pictures of them eating their sandwiches at lunch, or doing another selfie because they're on holiday, or faking it till they make it, etc. Right? And I would just say, don't do that. Just say once a week, I'm going to put out something that's really good for free, be it a great video or a great podcast or a great event that you're going to host, and just try and make it the best that you can put out, and just throw everything in it and put it out there for free. The first time you do it, no one's going to see, no one's going to notice. The third time you do it, no one's going to notice. But the 30th time you do it, you'll build an audience, and your audience is coming and knowing you, and that's when the magic happens.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, find your purpose, find your mission, and what something that you really love to do. It's because when you find what you love to do, you don't need to work anymore, because it becomes your hobby. And when you do what you really love, what you have passion about, and what is aligned with your unique talents and gifts, this is how you will become the best. Not, I mean, the best to compare with other people, but the best for yourself. Yes, because you will grow every day, and you will become the best version of yourself. And also because you are passionate, you will do it so well that it will be difficult to replace you.
Yeah, so true. So true.
Thank you so much, Richard, for being amazing guest on our podcast, and I'm looking forward for our episodes in future.
Fantastic. And thank you so much. Looking forward to rewatching this.
You're most welcome.